Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Welcome back, listeners, subscribers. Hopefully you're one of those things already. If not, there's still time. Make sure you're doing your part by listening and subscribing. I'm your host, Gage Edwards, content producer at Waste360.com. Today, we're going back to WasteExpo 2025 from Las Vegas, the Windy City, or at least it was when I was there. I have been to Las Vegas several times now, and I know it as the bright city in the middle of a desert, but I guess that's why they call it the City of Lights. Anyway, every time I've been there, I have not felt this desert I am seeing on the outskirts. I must visit Las Vegas during the only 50 hours of rain they get each year. I don't have bad luck on the tables. I avoid them like a scared man. I'm not jumping in on blackjack. I know how that goes. And I also don't want to approach the table when a bunch of people are sitting there because I know I'm just going to steal cards. That's a whole conversation we could have later. What I'm saying is don't be mad at those people. Anyway, I have bad luck with weather, with radars. I visit some pretty beautiful cities or cities that are known for having pretty stable weather. And every time I visit them, especially Las Vegas, those cities become like a second Seattle anytime I come to town. It is rain, doom, gloom. Sometimes the Seahawks are playing for some reason. Coffee. Seattle number 2. Anyway, I'm excited to get back to Las Vegas, the city of brotherly love, for more events in the future. But we're here to talk about WasteExpo 2025. And man, it was a hoot. What a good event this year. Got a lot done. Hosted a lot of panels. And that's what we're bringing you today. In today's episode, you'll hear from Natalie Lessa of Recreate, Joy Rifkin of LRS, Stephanie Sidler of GFL, and Bret Stevens of Reworld as we talk all things leadership, innovation, mentorship, and the future of waste. These rising leaders share honest insights about building trust with customers, scaling operations, overcoming imposter syndrome, and the mentors who helped shape their careers. So whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned vet, this panel is packed with wisdom and perspective. It's always one of the most popular panels at WasteExpo, and we thought it'd be a disservice to keep it all to ourselves, so we are bringing it to you today to the Wasteworld podcast. And because it's on theme, I moderated this panel, so I will still be with you, but just a past version of me when I'm much younger and not as handsome as I am today. You know, I get handsome the more time goes on. I'm growing into it. I'm still young, everybody. Still young. So anyway, sit back, grab a coffee, maybe a reusable water bottle, whatever you're drinking out of, and hey, enjoy.
Welcome to Rising Leaders Talk Trash. My name is Gage Edwards. I'm a content producer at Waste360. So I'm writing the articles, making the podcasts and videos that you may see in your newsletters. Hopefully you're reading them. This is Rising Leaders Talk Trash. Joining me are 4 40 Under 40 winners for this year. So congratulations to them. I am not yet an award winner of anything. Thank you. So I'm going to run down through our panelists here. They're going to do a quick introduction about themselves, and we'll get into some questions, and then we're going to have a good time. Sound good? Cool. I'd like to start with Natalie Lessa.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Why don't you tell everyone here a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Lessa. I'm one of the co-founders of Recreate. So I'm a consultant based out of Southern California. And about 5 years ago, I joined my business partner in starting our own firm, and looking forward to being able to share that with you today.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Joy Rifkin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joy Rifkin. I'm the Director of Sustainability at LRS. LRS is a waste hauler and processor in the Midwest. We're based out of Chicago, Illinois. And my journey started in the classroom. So I look forward to sharing that journey from education to sustainability and trash.
Next, Stephanie Sidler.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Sidler. I'm the Senior Director of Municipal Services with GFL. If you don't know who we are, we're the fourth largest hauler in North America. I'm based in Canada. I'm from Toronto. And my journey in this industry started by accident, maybe like most people, and in the municipal sector. So I started there. I moved my way to the private sector, and now I'm at GFL. And I really look forward to sharing that with you today.
Last but not least, Bret Stevens.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bret Stevens. I'm the Senior Director of the Solutions Group at Reworld, formerly Covanta. I've been in the waste business for about 16 years now. What I do day to day is I lead our third-party subcontracting arm of the business. So you may know Covanta, now Reworld, as the waste-to-energy guys. We've become much more than that through the subcontracting division and everything else that we've been doing lately. Thankful to be here, very honored to receive this award, and look forward to telling you more about myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again, I'd like to congratulate you each for winning a 40 Under 40 award. It's very prestigious. Now we're going to move on to questions. I'm a millennial, so I wrote these on my phone. I have 44%, so we'll get through this. My first question is just open to the table. We're just going to start off. This is the Rising Leaders Talk Trash panel, so I would like to know, and we can start with anyone, feel free to jump in. What does a good leader look like in the waste industry?
Oh, you were quick.
Joy's got something to say.
I'm very fortunate to work with a lot of good leaders at LRS, and I think being a leader means thinking outside the box and looking at things from new lenses and new angles. It's exciting to be in the waste industry because there's so much opportunity for innovation, for supporting our people, and for thinking about things differently. We provide an essential service. We do that every day with boots on the ground. How can we go beyond that and provide our customers and communities with transparency and clarity around what we're doing and why we're doing it? And that leading comes from enabling our people to tell that story, educating our communities, providing resources that lift the veil and say, when you throw something away, it doesn't go away. It goes somewhere, it impacts someone. Let us tell you what's happening and why it matters. And that really is like a light bulb for our customers and community members. They're curious and excited to see behind the scenes, and that allows us to build trust and continue to push the needle.
Yeah, I'll build on what Joy said. I believe two traits that any leader should possess are, number one, need to be a good listener, right? Need to listen to your team, need to listen to your customers, need to understand what the problem statement is so that you can decide an action plan and then go forward. The other thing is a leader should be willing to get his or her hands dirty, right? One of the rules I like to live by in my career is I don't ask my team members to do anything that I wouldn't do myself, right? No matter how granular that task may be. I think listening and being willing to do what you ask your team to do are leadership traits.
I think one thing I would just add to that is that I think it's really important for a leader to help drive the people who you're leading and help drive their career. And I always believe in leaving my position for someone else better than I took my position in, and not being afraid to have people come up under you that are going to eventually replace you because you want that succession plan and you want to build up people in the industry. I think that's a really important quality that leaders should have.
And I'll add amazing answers. Also being the calm in the chaos, especially as we've grown our team a lot over 5 years, and now we have 15 people that are looking to me every single day to see how I handle conflict as it arises, to see how I handle difficult client relations, changing project timelines, and it's important to learn how to kind of control your representation to the team when the stress and everything is kind of hitting, because you don't want the rest of your team to see that, even if it is what you're experiencing.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I forgot about the slides completely, so we're changing up how we do this a little bit. I'm going to ask you guys some individual questions now, and while we do that, we're going to have your slides up so the room can read a little bit about you as well, because I'm good at my job. Natalie.
Still here.
There it is.
Yep.
Natalie,
Oh, I can't really.
First question for you. What do you enjoy most about being a business owner in this industry? And what is the most challenging part of being a business owner?
Oh, okay. So it was touched on a little bit, but Two things. What used to be really, really exciting to me when I first was getting into the industry was thinking about the impact that I was going to make, particularly for me on climate change and protecting the natural environment. That's what's important to me. That's really what got me fired up. And as I now have become a business owner and am in more of a leadership role, the most exciting thing to me about being a business owner is really seeing the next wave of people coming into the industry and having the things that they're fired up about and learning about each individual and what's unique to them, what path they want to go on, and figuring out the best way that I can work with them to support them on where they want to go. I also enjoy just specifically the business owner aspect of it, being able to be creative and being able to tell the team, I don't always know the best way, and really fostering an environment that encourages collaboration and speaking up and presenting new ideas. And a lot of this, we're figuring it out as we go. And it's so really fun to be in an environment where people can bring their ideas and know that they're going to be considered and that we're not set on it being one certain way of getting to the end destination. So being able to kind of learn from the whole team and build on each other's creativity has been a big joy of mine. Oh, and the challenge. That's a harder question to answer. Yeah, I think going back to the stress management, especially as a business owner, I don't know if there's other business owners in the room.
Any business owners?
Business owners.
Look at that.
Yeah, so especially as a new business owner, I've had to learn how to do so many different aspects of running a business that I was quite frankly not the most qualified for, like accounting and taxes and like all the hats that you wear as a business owner that you can't always outsource that. And so it can be challenging just needing to know every single aspect of the business, which is also fun, but can be challenging when we all have our different skill sets and things that we're not so good at. And so having a team is really, really important.
Well said. Joy. There's your slide. Your question is, what's one thing you would advise or tell people about that are interested in working in the waste industry?
Interesting. I think I'll start with my background just to give you some perspective of how I got here. I started as a 7th and 8th grade science teacher in Chicago public schools. I think science is so fascinating because it helps us explain the world around us. We can ask questions and search for answers. And that was my first touch point with LRS. My students and I did a project on waste diversion, and we interviewed our driver. And that driver came from LRS, and they came and collected our recycling dumpster and our trash dumpster. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. It was a great conversation. After teaching for 3 years, I moved to New York City, and I worked for the city's Office of Sustainability within the public school system. So I had this unique opportunity to take classroom education and start thinking about scalability and looking at a school district, 1,800 schools in New York City, and how do we implement systems for waste diversion infrastructurally, but also educationally. How do we get buy-in from the custodial teams, from the Department of Sanitation, from the students? Because when they're in the driver's seat, you see that change in real time. And so when the pandemic came and I was thinking about moving back to the Midwest, I saw a job at LRS. And I remembered that fond interview with the driver that collected recyclables from the school that I taught at. And LRS has been a tremendous opportunity because I'm now behind the scenes in the waste world. It's a fascinating world, as many of you in this room know, with tremendous opportunity for innovation, technological advancements, and recruitment potential for young people who are excited to make change. And then the question was about what would I expect someone to learn from the waste industry? I kind of touched on it. It's fascinating. This idea of throwing something away doesn't mean it disappears. It goes somewhere. And how do we make sure that people know that waste should be a resource? When we recycle, we protect natural resources, we combat climate change, we build and strengthen that circular economy. And when you see it from that lens and that opportunity is there, and you have people in waste companies making that change happen bit by bit, brick by brick, it's a really, really exciting feeling. And so I'd want anyone in this room to know that change is possible and it's happening with our waste companies.
Stephanie, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
You've got it. What is one thing you would advise or tell people about that are interested in working in the waste industry?
Just one thing?
I mean, if you've got a whole list of them, we only got an hour.
No, I think like Joy, I'll just start with how I ended up in the industry, because I really didn't even know that this industry existed in the capacity that it exists. I did not understand the intricacies of this industry. I did not understand the dynamics. I really just thought my garbage got picked up and it went away, and like, who the heck knows what happens to it? And I think that's how most people feel about the industry. So I said I started by accident. I did. I really wanted to work in water treatment. So I took a job at a municipality thinking like I could wiggle my way in. And I really haven't looked back. That was like 16 years ago. I started in a MRF. I moved my way to the private sector. So I've done a lot of different sort of roles in the industry. And I'm really involved in other industry, like our organizations. So like I'm the treasurer of Women's Council. So based on all of that, the one thing that I would really say to people is like, this is a small, tight-knit industry. And we're really lucky to be able to rely on each other, even though we're competitors. Like I'm sure tomorrow I could call Joy and ask her a question about something, you know, we just met today, but about something that I have going on that I think maybe she can help with. And I think we're so lucky to have that in this industry, and it's something that's so nice, and I don't believe it exists in every industry.
Well said. Bret, your question is, what is the secret to earning, I'm asking this like a trivia show. They know what the questions are. What's the secret to earning a customer's trust regarding the ways that you manage their waste?
I think it's important when you're working on behalf of customers to first listen, as I talked about earlier, understand what their goals are. Are they nascent in the waste industry, and are they trying to get out of landfill and take that first step? Or are they already mature and they're trying to get one rung higher on that EPA disposal hierarchy? So listening is key. But then also doing right by the customer. There's a lot of shady players in the waste business as well, and as tight-knit as it is, and how we all use each other and scratch each other's backs, there's also some shady characters that are interested in the quick buck, the transactional type deal to put them over the hump for that quarter or that year. I always try to zoom out and think about what's going to do right by the customer to build their trust long term. Right? Am I hitting the easy button too often? Or can I go outside the normal boundaries and try to do something unique with their material? Right? Whether that's depackage a filled expired product, recycle the contents, beneficially reuse the liquids. There's lots of things you can do to build trust, but it starts with listening, and it starts with delivering on your promises early.
Now, building off that, I'm curious, we don't do this alone. No one's alone in the waste industry, right? So what is some advice you can share about maintaining good relationships and communications with your teams or even your clients? And this is for everyone.
I'll touch on that one. So there are people in this room right now that either work with me today or used to work with me in a past life that I'm always learning from, right? I don't pretend to know everything about the waste industry, and as I go year by year, I always am adding, quote unquote, new tools to my tool belt. And so whether that is learning more about organics, or learning more about recycling, or learning more about other sustainable ways of managing waste, you have to lean on the people around you, prop them up when it's their idea, when it's their contribution, and give others an opportunity to get into these positions like we are right now. Right? We're sitting on this stage because we were honored by this really nice award, but there's countless people behind every one of our efforts that helped us get here. And giving those people the opportunities, whether it's letting them be front and center in a customer relationship, propping them up to do an interview or answer questions in the media, things like that give people an opportunity to shine when they otherwise would be behind the scenes. And I really believe in trying to prop the team up that way.
I think another important aspect of that is trust building, either within your team or, like, we are a consulting company, we have clients, a few in the room, and it's been, that's one of the most important things to us, is getting clients to fully feel like they can trust us. And so what does that look like? For us, that looks like really delivering on what we said we're going to do. And we take pride in the quality of deliverables that we provide. And I think one of the reasons I'm on this stage is because the passion for what I do really comes through. So we will treat every client like they're the most important client, because they are. We're proud of the quality of work we do. We're proud of the outreach we do. We're proud of the creative strategies that we're coming up with. And I think clients feel that. And so the relationship is just natural, because what we're delivering is what they asked for, and they trust us to be able to deliver on that.
I agree. I think trust and transparency is key. For a long time, the waste industry provided an essential service and there weren't many questions asked. And now it's so important with communities and customers to say, here's what we're doing, here's how it works, and here's where we need to get better. That clarity and that transparency around this is what we can recycle, here are the end markets we have, but here's where we also need to grow and change. It really opens that door of trust. No one expects recycling to solve all of our environmental issues. We are a piece of that pie, and being clear and sharing what we can do and what we're working on goes a long way with customers and community members, and internally, making sure everyone feels informed and aware of our business practices, our sustainability efforts, and our collaborative nature with customers, school districts, communities.
I think that I would like to add to that, and I had this conversation last night with someone, it's like, don't be afraid when you're building that trust to say that you don't know something. Mm-hmm. I think that's so important. Like, we can't all possibly know everything, and we can all learn from each other, and we shouldn't be afraid to not know how to do something. I did not know how to build my slide. I reached out to somebody who could help me build a slide. Like, it's little things like that, but especially with your own team members. Like, they see you as a leader, they look to you as a leader, but they don't expect you to know everything. And if you have to step back and take a pause and figure out how to answer that question, or figure out the best answer for that question, that's okay.
Well said. Shifting gears a tiny bit, you're all award winners, you're very proud, hooray. But in your jobs, what is something you're particularly proud of?
I'm very proud to work for LRS because they have enabled me and my team to actually push the needle on sustainability. We have a foundation built on circularity and recycling for many, many years since the company's founding, but we've moved towards holistic sustainability, tracking our emissions, having a board-approved net zero plan, doing audits for the city of Chicago, allowing me to visit our end markets and see what happens when those materials leave our facility. And I don't know if everyone gets that chance to say, hey, here's what I see, here's what I've got to learn, here's what we're working on now. And it's been really empowering at LRS to feel like we're supported in this holistic idea of sustainability. It takes time to make those changes, but that backing from our senior leaders, from our board members, really goes a long way.
I'll go next. I am proud of myself for, we started the company, I was 29, and I had a lot of imposter syndrome, especially being in rooms with people that were older than me and had been around for a lot longer. And we made it through COVID, which was a little dicey, didn't really know. And we just kept pushing and believing that it was going to be possible to be able to provide the service that we felt so passionate about providing. And so 5 years later, I'm proud that we exist. But as a company, I'm most proud of knowing that our team members are happy. We really wanted to create a company culture that found a balance of working hard and having a very high expectation, again, of quality, of professionalism, but that also people enjoyed being at work, and they enjoyed their teammates, and they felt like they were a valuable member of the team. That was important to me early in my career, and I got that where I worked before, and so I'm proud when we have our meetings with the team and we hear that they're happy to be a part of the team and that they are excited to be contributing, and that, for me, is one of the most rewarding aspects.
And that ties into that succession planning or building future leaders, allowing people to go down paths that they're passionate about. And couldn't agree more, happiness is so important.
I think that is what I'm most proud of, is like the people that I've worked with and the people that I've hired and the people that I've formerly mentored in the Women's Council program, looking at their successes and seeing them do well in the industry is like, it's like, they're like kids. They're like you see them come up in the industry and are just like so proud of the way that they've developed. And I love to do that. I like to do it formally. I like to do it informally. I'll just like take folks out for breakfast or lunch and just let them have those conversations with me and pick my brain. And it's so cool to watch that happen.
Some of the other panelists were talking about internal team members and the pride with seeing them grow. So I'll give a different answer. I'm going to talk about the customer side, like getting a win, right? When you get a win, you're really proud of the fact that someone else, some other customer has put their trust in you, right? Whether it's for a 1-year term or a 3-year term, or if you're lucky enough to land a long-term 5 to 7 year contract, it means that all the effort that your team has put in, all the hours of proposal drafting, all of the back and forth with transportation vendors and whoever else is part of the equation, it means that a customer is bought in and that they trust you. And for me, that's what makes me proud every day.
I also think it's great to see that things like sustainability or service or customer relations leads to those wins. And when you see those connections about good work that you're doing internally leading to brand trust and customer satisfaction, it leads to those wins. And I'm proud of LRS for seeing that and valuing the sustainability work that we do.
Cool. Now, we're proud of stuff, but we all face challenges in our days. How do we approach new challenges? How do we approach things changing in waste? Things changing all the times. How are we getting over that, Gustav?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
So I think everyone deals with change in very different ways. And I had this boss, and she one time drew this curve out to me, and you're gonna have to I can't draw it, so I'm just gonna kind of went like this. And she taught me that everyone sort of goes through this change curve, and it really helped me start to see how I deal with change, but also start to understand how others deal with change. And so we all go through this, the change happens here, we all kind of go we hate the change, and then we are at this bottom pit, and then we come up and we like the change. So someone might be, at this part of the curve, and I might be over here already happy with the change. So I think understanding that we all deal with that in different ways, and we all might be at a different place in that path is really important, because then you're not getting frustrated with people because you're understanding that, they're just here in the change path. They don't like it as much as me. Or I'm here and they're already totally okay with it. And that was really eye-opening to me, and she was such a great mentor, and I really just always appreciated her drawing that out for me, and I was like, oh yeah, it's good.
I'll just add, it's not linear, and I like that analogy of the change timeline. Things take time, and they don't move in a straight line. And at LRS, we've been changing so much about the culture, and something I've really held on to is sometimes it's okay to slow down to speed up, to take the time to let teams know why we made a decision, to talk to each other and collaborate to come to a shared understanding. And so taking that time to let the change sink in and have people voice their opinions and collaborate collectively can sometimes lead to that slump of change being a little bit shorter and people feeling a little bit more looped in rather than jerked into that uncomfortability.
On this topic, I like to think about kind of a split, right? Changes and challenges that happen for two reasons. One of them is for things outside your control, and then there are things that are in your control. And if it's in your control, I like to sit down with a team and talk about, it's almost like you're looking at a problem in reverse, right? How did we get here, and what made this result happen? And so trying to talk to the team about what decisions we made along the process could have made us end up in a different situation. And then there's the whole other side of change and difficulties where things are outside your control. Nothing you could have done would have prevented what happened. And in those cases, it's important to talk to your team members and make them understand that, right? Because it's easy to get down on yourself if things don't go your way, if you didn't win a deal that you were expecting to win, if the results, whether financial or otherwise, didn't hit the mark. Trying to sit down with your team and review the reasons why. right? Talk about what could have been done differently, what could not have been done differently, and just make sure that they understand that, certain things we can improve, other things you just have to ride.
We're reaching the halfway point here, and I've had all the fun asking the questions, so I'm going to throw it to you guys just in case. If there's any audience Q&A, anyone have any questions for the leaders, feel free to come up to the middle microphone here. This is being recorded, so I just need you to talk into the mic if you got any questions for our panelists here. So I'm going to look around and see if I see any movement. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for, first, congratulations on your award. It's really awesome. It's nice to see people that are like me up on this panel. It's really important. So thank you for talking about your succession planning and all that kind of stuff. It's important for us to work together to get to that spot. My question is for Bret. Yes, I am a Reworld employee as well.
Valerie.
So he planted people in the audience. No, Bret, I want you, since a lot of folks that are here are in the waste business, and I want you to discuss one of the most challenging waste streams that you've found a home for. And like you were talking about, using the right people, using different agencies and different types of waste disposal options, how you got to that point.
Okay, great, good question. I will. I'm going to talk about two because they're both on my kind of Mount Rushmore of cool accomplishments in the industry, I will say. One of those waste streams is beach and ocean plastic, right? So think about our coastlines around the world, whether it's in Southeast Asia or even here in America. There's a littering problem along a lot of our coastal ways, whether it's rivers, lakes, oceans, etc. I worked on a program earlier in my career with a major conglomerate. You could probably figure out who this is when I'm talking about it. But they wanted to make a big splash in the sustainability world, and one of the topics that they brought to us was, I don't just want to source recycled HDPE for my bottles. Everyone else is doing that. I want to source recycled HDPE that came from these littered coastlines around the world. And so that program included us, my company, when I was with TerraCycle at the time, contracting with local nonprofit organizations and local beach cleanup efforts to get this material collected in different coastlines around the world, everywhere from Brazil to Thailand to England even. And we collected all this material. I would have to hire local subcontractors in these markets to first sort the material from each other to get the HDPE separate from everything else. I had to work with chemists and lots of other different polymer engineers to put additives into this product that had been degraded by the sun and UV. But ultimately, I was able to get those collected beach materials into a finished pellet, which could be implemented into this major brand's shampoo and conditioner bottles. So instead of just having a tagline that this bottle was made from recycled HDPE, there was a storyline that came along with it. There was a big marketing effort that came along with it, and that product has done very well and has had several iterations since then. The other thing that I think is pretty interesting for this crowd is there's a major athleisure brand. You probably heard of them, Lululemon. Years ago, they had this problem where they manufactured these yoga pants that looked good, right? They were perfectly fine from a quality perspective when they shipped out of the plant. They go to the store, they put these yoga pants on the mannequins. Everything looks good. Women end up walking out of the store, and these pants are more see-through than the manufacturer thought that they were. And so they had a problem on their hands. They called my company and said, look, we've got millions of pounds of these off-spec yoga pants that we want to recycle. We have a zero waste to landfill policy. They can't go to landfill, and we prefer to recycle them. And so I was able to get that material granulated and densified down into like these little granules, and was able to get that material into Mohawk Flooring's carpet backing. Right, it's a nylon 6/6 type material, which was able to go into carpet backing for one of the nation's largest flooring and carpet producers. So those two things I'm very proud of, and I think they're both interesting stories.
Cool. Thank you for your question. Anyone else?
How do you plan growth? I'm a business owner right now, and I'm an idea person, and I've worked for people who are idea people before, and eventually their ideas spin out and you can't keep up with it. So in all of your positions when you're leaders, how do you balance the ideas and the capabilities and the resources you have?
Oh man, that's such a good question. And I think it's a good question, like coming from a business owner, but from like a corporate perspective, sometimes it's very difficult because you have finite resources. You don't have infinite resources to be able to do stuff. So I think one thing that I'm trying to learn to do, and this is a big one for me, is like how do I prioritize like what's most important and what's going to help. But my job is about growth. It's about growing our municipal business at GFL. Like what tools can we implement and what ideas do I have that are going to help us the most? And I think really sitting down and like writing that down for me and understanding, okay, well, I could do X, Y, and Z, but I could also do A, B, and C. And what are the best ones to do? And I also work with like my leaders and talk to them about it. Like, what can we implement? What resources do we have? How much ability do I have to do this? That's all been really helpful, but it is a learning curve. I'm not quite like the best at it yet.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, great question, Allison. I wish it was black and white as well. I think having good communication with the team is really important, and kind of like always having your finger on the pulse of where's everyone at? And I feel really grateful to have a business partner, Kirk Kunihiro. So we have like a checks and balances kind of going, and I have the personality of like wanting to go after every RFP and like sky's the limit and we can figure out a way, and I have that mentality. And so it's great to have a team and have other people kind of bring you back to earth and say like, we don't have the capacity to take that on right now. And then checking in with the team and having that kind of constant communication of like, we definitely don't want people to burn out to the point where they quit. That's huge. So if our growth is happening so fast and in such a disorganized way that people are leaving, that's not actually helping anything. So I think it's finding that line of like growing, but also having intentional growth, but knowing it's gonna always feel a little chaotic because you're growing. But yeah, it's not straightforward. I'm still learning it too.
I'll add to that. I'm very lucky that we have amazing leaders that handle a lot of these aspects of LRS, but I'm always thinking about scalability and replicability. What we do in Chicago provides a lot of transparency for the city, our customers, residents, and how do we bring that into our new spaces as we grow into Indiana and other states in the Midwest. And so for sustainability, we are creating resources, sustainability reports, educational tools that can be utilized no matter where you are in the waste, in the LRS map of services. And so continuing to think about how do we, build our team, but also build tools that allow us to get information to not just one school district or one city that we service, but across to all of our customers, and giving them tools that empower them to educate their classrooms or their businesses or set up waste diversion systems. But luckily, sustainability is just one aspect of our growing business, and I'm glad to have team members to help with that.
So Natalie mentioned knowing your personnel, knowing your team members and what their limits are, what they can contribute to. I'm going to steal a line from my wife on this one. My wife played NCAA lacrosse at a very high level and has coached since then, and she always says, KYP, know your personnel, right? So understand what the limitations are, understand what people's different strengths and weaknesses are. Who are the people that can take on that little bit extra without burning out, and who are the people that are you need to be a little bit more cognizant of. It all starts with the team, and it's easy to want to say yes to every opportunity that gets thrown at you, but taking an honest step back and thinking about your personnel, thinking about your bandwidth, thinking about your other commitments, that's the key to the whole thing on growth, is understanding where your commitments are and where your time's gonna be spent, and trying not to overcommit your people. And trying to communicate as much as possible early in the process. Like, hey, we have this opportunity for us to pursue it. It's gonna mean X, Y, and Z for each of you. And get the buy-in from the team rather than just dumping that new workload on their desk. I think it's really important to make them part of the decision-making process on whether you take something new on or not.
And I know I already went, but Joy, you brought up some really good ideas too, of some things that are a little bit more tangible that we do. And that's like not, like gatekeeping information accidentally. So whenever I personally find a task that I'm doing that I don't really enjoy doing, I think, okay, maybe someone else will enjoy this task more or be better at it or be more efficient, really, because we all do have different skill sets. So we've been really big lately on making how-to guides for everything about our company, because without those, that's a good way to like never go on vacation, is if I'm the only person that can ever, do X, Y, or Z. So really setting the team up for success and like the succession plan that you talked about, and just making sure this information lives somewhere for other people to be able to take on. And then it's great for the team too, because people want more responsibilities. They want growth within their own career. And so it kind of works out for everyone.
Thank you for the question.
Hi, Gage Cowan with Rubicon. I have a question for the whole panel. First of all, congrats, but also I'm imagining there are probably some pretty important mentors in your careers. So I'm curious if you could describe those people and a few lessons you took from them.
Okay, I'll start. I didn't have any formal mentors, although I love to see that our industry is having more and more of these sort of formal mentor-mentee relationship programs. First person that comes to mind for me is really the first boss that I had as a consultant, and the quality that he had that I found so helpful, that taught me so much, is that he always made the time for me. He was always coming into my office or had the door open so that I could go in. And I knew how busy he was, but I always felt like if there was something I needed to brainstorm or had questions on, that there was just this open space for me to come and be able to brainstorm with him. And that meant a lot to me, especially as an entry-level associate, to be able to access the owner of the company, because I saw that they were caring as much about me as I was about the company. And so a positive relationship formed there, and I got to learn a lot just from that organic relationship.
I've definitely had a lot of people that are mentors, but also people that I look up to. There's two in this room. They don't know that I'm going to say their names, so Carrie and Norma. That I just I've learned a ton from people who I have just normal working relationships with. But one mentor that comes to mind, she's the same woman that taught me that change graph, and we made like this such a stupid mistake together. I worked at a municipality. We called a resident. We left him a voicemail. We hung up the phone. We continued to talk about how horrible a person he was, and then realized it was still recording. So we rectified the mistake. It was all fine, but she looked at me and said, "I'm so glad this happened with you, and I'm also so glad that happened with her." So like mentors can teach you so much just by being with them and working with them, and just like that like could have been career ruining, but we made it into this like lesson about what not to do. And yeah, there's so many people in this industry that I've learned a lot from, simple things like that.
In college, I had a great professor, Dr. Joy Sidler, who helped me with a project that I was doing at the Arboretum, and it was comparing the carbon emissions from mowing the grasses versus a prairie burn. And it was like, where do you even start? And what I think made her such a fantastic mentor even to this day was she didn't just give me the answer, she provided little pieces of guidance that allowed me to start to fathom what it took to do this project. And I'm so lucky, Patrick and Martha are in the room, two amazing mentors. Patrick has really given me this new lens of business and sustainability. I came from the public world and, really have these like altruistic motives about recycling and conserving natural resources. And how do we pitch things with that economic and environmental lens as a business? And that's just revolutionized the way I think about how to make proposals and push the needle at LRS. And Martha is one of our board members, Dr. Crawford, who has, again, those nuggets of information that guide us towards progress, rather than you got to do it this way or you got to do it that way. It's that guidance and that opening of doors and that opening of information that allow us to continue to succeed and build sustainability at LRS. So thanks to you two. And
great question about the mentors. I think when people think about a mentor, they often think about people that are their superior or older than them. And mentors can happen in lots of different ways, right? I have a colleague of mine that I went to college with. He was an advisor to my fraternity when I was in college, and since that time, he's sort of been a loose advisor on my career. Like, hey, have you heard of this company? Go check this out. Or, do you know what this company's doing? Go check it out. So that person is a classmate of mine from Monmouth University in New Jersey. He's been a mentor for me. And then also, as I've gotten into my career, you know, it's easy to have imposter syndrome when you get into new positions. You don't know everything, you only know a sliver, and you want to act like the expert, but you don't really have the content to be the expert. And so at my first long career, my first long job in the industry at TerraCycle, I was mentored by an older gentleman, a polymer scientist, who taught me everything that I needed to know about plastic recycling and all the different characteristics of different types of plastic. And that has served me incredibly well as I've gotten into the next phase of my career, now working at Reworld, which is to be that one-stop shop for all different waste streams and different processing techniques. And then I also think about my colleagues, right? It's easy to think about mentors as being someone that's your superior, but there's people in this room, Gage, who asked that question. He and I used to work together. I learned a ton from Gage. A lot of my success today through what I learned from him, a colleague. Same with my colleague Andrew Marinelli, who's in here, right? He's one of our best salespeople in the whole company, really knows certain industries and certain clients and waste streams very well. He's taught me a lot about areas that I don't know in the business. And so don't always look upward for a mentor. They could be right next to you.
Well said. Again, it takes more than just yourself. You gotta have a team around you.
I just like also how Bret mentioned that informality as well. Mentors don't have to be this like formal relationship that you establish. It can come in those little moments of asking questions and getting information. And everyone from LRS in this room has taught me a lot. And I'm very lucky for that. And consider them those mentors in those moments.
Excellent. Thank you again for the question. Anyone else have anything? Cool. It's my turn again. We're at WasteExpo. A lot of opportunity this week. What advice would you give to rising young professionals in this industry, and how can they take advantage of being here at WasteExpo? Show floor opens tomorrow. What should they be looking to do?
Always ask the extra question. Always. Right? If you're like, okay, I've used enough of this person's time, but I'm still kind of curious about this one thing, I better not bother them. Always ask the extra question. Always.
I mean, go to the networking functions that we have. I think I talked about how this industry is great because we're small and we're tight knit, but you have to build they're not just handed to you. So go to those events and don't be afraid to go. I went to my first Women's Council event, Carrie's sitting right there, and I was like so nervous to go to the networking event by myself. I'm pretty outgoing, but I was still like, I just don't want to go downstairs. I don't want to meet new people. And I know a lot of us feel like that all the time. Like that's a very hard thing to do, but don't be afraid to do it. I did it, and I've met some of the best people that I've met in this industry through it. So just like, I don't know, get over it.
Those connections are obviously so important here. I would recommend a young person entering this industry to kind of be in touch with what sparks interest in you. Maybe it's the organic section, maybe it's AI or information technology, maybe it's marketing and design and education around this, and lean into that. Go to those sessions, see what sparks your interest, and then find those people and have that extra question. Go to that networking event and find those connections who you can learn from. There's so many pathways into waste and sustainability. Go to the sessions and see what makes you really, really excited. Like Natalie said, climate was one of the reasons she got into this, protecting the natural environment. What are you curious about? Is it revolutionizing technology and innovation in this space? Is it the legal aspects and the policy changes and legislation that's coming? Definitely find your spark, because that's gonna get you really, really far and help you find people to talk to in this very big conference with lots of different things going on.
I would say, quite simply, like, keep it real. I wish that as someone when I was younger in my career, in my 20s, I wish I would have kind of known that people don't expect you to know everything. Like, you're not expected to be the expert. If you're a few years into the industry, like, that's okay. And being young and at conferences like this and kind of seeing names that I would study and being a little starstruck sometimes, would be like, oh, so nervous, But just knowing that it's okay to approach people and say like, oh, I'm just now learning. Oh, I've never heard about that before. Can you tell me more about it? And that, you don't have to like put on a front about being an expert about something, but just approach with curiosity and take advantage of all the opportunities and know it's going to be a marathon because these conferences are exhausting and a lot of fun happens after the conference. So I'd say pace yourself, drink water.
Stephanie, I subscribe to that school of get over it. I used to be terrible at networking. Now I'm just like, I'm okay at it. Do the rest of you have any advice on how to network properly or effectively, rather than just like, I just got to walk up to the other person and talk to them?
I personally try to plan around my networking. Like if I know that I'm going to be at a conference and the attendee list is published, I try to review that attendee list or the exhibitor list ahead of time and think about short-term and long-term for myself, right? Who are some companies or some people that I would like to meet for short-term needs? And then who are some companies or people that I would like to meet for longer-term career development, things like that. So I'll go down the list. I'll spend an hour doing that before I travel to a conference and try to tick off the names of the people that I want to meet with. I'll shoot them a message on LinkedIn. Hey, can we grab 10 or 15 minutes together, grab a coffee, grab lunch? You want to come to my booth and sit down for 5 minutes? I just try to take the planned approach because when you get here, it gets to be intense, right? And if you might have a scheduled meeting and someone wants to come up and talk to you, and while we're happy to talk to everybody, I try to schedule it as much as I can.
I think that we have to remember that everyone else is also just people. Sometimes you like kind of forget that and you're nervous to go up to them, but they're probably nervous too. So I try and bring that into, oh my God, they're just a person too.
Go ahead. I'm running out of stuff to say. I was hoping you guys would talk longer. Just kidding.
I lost
nothing. Okay, that's fine.
I was going to say, yeah, it came back. Trying to make your job easier.
Well, thank you.
You never know. Like, I go to a conference and I know who my potential clients are. I know who I want to try to talk to. And at the same time, like, kind of letting that go, too. Like, you never know who you're going to meet and what kind of conversation you're going to have. And maybe you'll connect that person to someone else that you know. And that's amazing as well. So I'd say having a plan is great for sure. And also, you just kind of never know what's going to happen with a relationship. So being open to being curious to everyone, yeah.
Just like we talked about, change is hard. Being flexible with your plan. You might have a few scheduled meetings, but being flexible to who you're going to talk to, or maybe not get a lot of time with someone. You might get 2 minutes, but that 2 minutes allows you to have future conversations and connections.
I was just going to give one more piece of advice to people who are like maybe new at a conference is wear comfortable shoes. Like I'm not wearing them today, but like I have sneakers for walking around the trade show floor because your feet will hurt.
Yeah. Super.
Yeah. I have just 2 more things to ask. Anyone else in the audience have anything before I move on? Because I'm going to wrap up here soon.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. Okay. I twisted the arm enough.
Yeah. Congratulations. I have no idea what award you won. This is our second time here, and I know there are other independent haulers in the group. There's a big dichotomy between like the people that work for the majors or work for companies like you guys, and then the independent haulers. And I don't think we're adversarial, but it's just that they're different things that we need. And so that's a whole other subject. But what award did you win? And I may be, if one other person doesn't understand, then it was good to ask the question.
It's the 40 Under 40 award.
Okay, and how do you find out about that? Do you apply? I mean, my son works for us, and he's under 40.
There is a fantastic website, waste360.com.
Okay.
You'll see my face frequent on there. Every year we put out applications for nominees, and that goes through a rigorous process, and at the end we end up with 40 of them.
Okay. And there's a couple other awards. There's the NWRA, Driver of the Year, Operator of the Year. There's the Rising Leaders and Women in Waste. So there's a couple other avenues for awards at WasteExpo yearly that come from other organizations.
Okay. Well, if I looked ignorant, now if there was one person that learned it other than me, it was a win.
Well, that's good. It's a good plug for me. Waste360.com.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll wrap up with this question and we'll get on with our day here. I'd like to know from our award winners, what's next for each of you? What's the future look like?
Being able to take a vacation. Which seems like it's a weird answer, but really building the company and the team in a way where everyone is empowered and has the tools and the resources that they need. And really, like we've talked about, like the greatest joy for me is bringing someone on the team, understanding what they care about, figuring out what we need to do to support them, and then getting out of the way so that they can really take that path and run with it and know that they have our support. So for me, it's like figuring out ways to get out of the way and have these opportunities for other people on the team to continue to grow, bring on new people. We specialize in, I know I haven't talked at all about our company, but we specialize in edible food recovery and route reviews, waste characterizations, and residential and organics outreach. I get really excited when we can do a pilot project or a new project that gives us new insight into behaviors, and we've had a few projects like that, so I'm always just hoping to be able to take on projects that teach us something new that can be applied in different parts of the country. So just, hoping for continued just diversity in the workload that we get to do to keep it fun.
I think I have a few things that are next, but work-wise, I really would like to use technology in my job a little bit better and embrace some of the technology that's like coming down the pipeline, AI, and how can we use those things to make our jobs different, easier, like not to replace anybody, but I think they can really enhance what we do. So it's really understanding how those things fit into my everyday life.
I think for me, I've been in this industry for 16 years. I don't have any intentions of leaving it. So staying in the waste industry and trying to make a broader impact. At my current company, Reworld, the next year or two is really all about positioning and execution. You might have heard me say at the beginning of the session here that Reworld is formerly Covanta, right? If you know the name Covanta, it's synonymous with waste to energy. We're a year into that rebrand from Covanta to Reworld, where we are positioning ourselves to be not just a waste to energy business, but a one-stop shop for all sustainable waste management. And so positioning, right? Getting our position in the marketplace secure, where other companies know us, know that we are an option. And then once we position ourselves, it's all about execution, right? That reputation, the reputation that we're hoping to have, only works if you execute well. And so putting the right people in the right positions, taking as much of the customer's feedback and as much of the customer's pain points into consideration, that's what's next for me.
We are at a place where we're finally measuring a lot of our internal systems, fuel management, understanding how much fuel we're using so we can better route our trucks, understanding our GHG emissions in real time rather than looking back at invoices or energy bills, and that is going to allow us to be strategic in the moment rather than always reflecting backwards. And I want to electrify where the technology is readily available, find grants for good MRF equipment that can allow us to divert more materials, interact with our customers and create resources that really mean something to them so we can scale this to Indianapolis and to the other places that we're growing in the Midwest. Very excited to have some of that system stuff in place so we can be strategic and make a bigger impact.
Cool. Well, I'd like to again thank you all for joining me, and thank you again for attending the session. Let's give it up one more time for our award winners.
I just want to give another huge thanks to our panelists, Natalie, Joy, Stephanie, and Bret. Thank you so much for being on that panel with me, and for being so generous with their stories and strategies. I think it is clear the future of waste is in good hands. As always, you can go to waste360.com to read more about the 40 Under 40 winners, all 40 of them, and other WasteExpo highlights featuring myself and other people from the industry. Make sure you check it out. There's a lot of good content to find there. And if you enjoyed this conversation, if you enjoyed what we bring to you, make sure you're sharing the episode with your team, your friends, your colleagues. Be sure to subscribe on your podcasting service of choice. Leave us a review. If the review is cool enough and I deem it cool enough, maybe I'll read it on the show. Maybe I'll bring it to you guys what people think about us. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but maybe I will be sharing it. But all of those things help keep these important conversations going. It helps keep people coming to the show and bringing new information, new innovations, new insights, new fun. And we want to share that with you. So anyway, until next time, I'm Gage Edwards. Visit waste360.com. And remember, it's our world. Let's not waste it.